What is up, everybody? I'm here to show you guys a quick recap of the last 2 weeks of material I've gone over with you guys over in the option guide. So be sure to check it out if you haven't, because it's pretty much what I'm going to be basing what this video is going to be about. Uh, I'm only going over the bare minimum of what it takes to trade an option, what it really takes to learn how to trade an option, but you should really look into it further going on from this point because it's not as easy as you might think it is. If you already think it's complicated, it can be, but it's might not be in the way you think it is. So I really think that you should just going on from this point, look into it as much as you can because the more the merrier, like the more you can learn, the more perspective you get. And hey, man, like whatever makes you more money at the end of the day, right? So I hope this works out for you guys. I'm gonna be going over everything over on Robinhood. I don't really trade on Robinhood. I use TOS for the most part, but I think for the sake of simplicity and for the just overall way of dumbing it down for you guys, Robinhood is the best platform to use. I think something like TOS, can seem a little more complicated or, you know, you could do more on it, but it's just maybe not the most friendly approach if you're just starting out. So, yeah, let's get started. What's an option contract? So, let's assume that you think Apple's gonna go up. Rather than buying the stock in hopes that the stock goes up and then you make a profit, you can actually, in a way of sense, bet that Apple's gonna go up. And that's an option contract. You're pretty much assuming that if you think the stock is going to go up at a specific time, at a specific price point, then you will make money and a lot more than you would if you just put money into the stock and let it rise at that price. All right, the first type of option contract we're going to go over is a call option. If you think the stock is going to go up, then you would go for a call option. There's two types of call options you can make. If I go over here, oh, so you might not actually have this available if you just set up a Robinhood account. So you do have to set yourself up for options. I'm sure you could find a video online of how to do that. It's pretty simple, but it is kind of a process, but won't really go over that with you today. But as soon as you get that available for you, you can just go over to the trade options tabs. I'll go over everything else right now, but let's go to this date right here. So Apple is currently trading at 165. All right. So anything, and we're going for call options. So anything above here is above, it's out the money because it is above where the price of the stock is currently at. Anything where the stock is currently at and below is considered in the money. So these are all prices that the stock has already covered, so it is already considered in the money. The more in the money you go, the more expensive the prices go. So if you see right here, this 150 call, it is trading at 15.65, and then if you go below, it keeps going more and more. And the more out the money you go, the cheaper the contracts go. Why? Because, stocks don't really skyrocket all crazy like that. So you won't really see the stock going all the way up to 200 anytime soon. So you don't really see these option contracts really costing too much. Our second type of option contract are put options. So if we think that the stock is going to go down, let's go, we're still using Apple. We're going to go down to the put section. And again, the stock is trading at 165. So anything considered in the money for puts would be the opposite for what it would be for calls. So right here, if we go up, because all of these are prices that the stock has not hit, but we're assuming that the price is going to go down, it's pretty much the opposite. it's going to get more expensive, and these are all in the money puts. And if you go over down, if you keep going below, these are what we consider out the money because these are stocks that the price has already hit, but the stock is believed we're aiming to go low. We're trying to go back over to this side. So because of that, this is what we're aiming for. This is the direction we're aiming towards. The prices will go cheaper as they go as well. And that is a put option. So I actually skipped over this at the beginning, but I just wanted to follow how the option guide is set up. But really, this is the first thing you should be looking for, and that is your expiration date. This is probably like the main thing you're going to be looking for when you're actually thinking of placing a call or a put, because your main first focus is when do you think it's going to hit? How realistic is the possibility of that price hitting it? You know, if you're thinking a lot further than where it's currently at, then you might want to be looking for a much further expiration date. Versus if you're looking for more short term and you think it's just going to go up a couple bucks, then, you know, maybe go for a more short term, more closer expiration date. Um, Back here at Apple, we can see that all our expiration dates are up here highlighted in green on the top on Robinhood. It varies from platform to platform, but once you understand how everything looks, it should all pretty much be the same to you. Uh, Expiration dates go in increments of Fridays, so pretty much every Friday of the week of a trading week, you have an expiration date for pretty much every stock. Some stocks are outliers and have extra days on top of having Friday, like SPY and QQQ, which have expiration dates on Monday and Wednesday, and this can, I mean, if you look into expiration dates and understand a little bit more about like human psychology, you'll understand that expiration dates can be a very pivotal moment for you, especially if you're thinking of day trading or something along the lines of that. Your expiration date will have a lot to do with the price of the stock of when you're playing it because like let's say again the price of Apple is currently at 165, so our closest expiration date is April 22nd. So if we go over to where we got so if we go over here and we go to the one, let's go to calls. Let's go to a 170 call, which is assuming that the stock is going to go up $5 by April 22nd. The price of the contract is 0.75. I'll get into premium prices, but pretty much that is the price that you're going to be paying for. It's not actually 75 cents. I'll go into what it actually is in a bit, but essentially that's the price that you're paying for that price. But now let's assume that we're going to give it the same price, but at an even further date. So let's go over the next week. So if we go to the 29th, which is the next following Friday, if you look at the same call, but at this date, the price is now 2.47, which is damn near which is three times as at least three times as much of what you would have paid the first time around. But except now you have even more time to play with and more time for that stock to hit that price. So even though you're spending more money for this stock to hit the price, you're also given more time for it to hit that price. So if it goes down bad, you're not really uh, losing as much compared to what you would lose if you was more sooner than then, because the price would go down a lot more faster. But that goes into price volatility, and that's something I'll get into later as well. So the premium is pretty much one again. I think everything about the option contract is equally as important, but I mean it's probably what you're going to be focusing the most because it's what you're going to be spending on these contracts. So if you look over here to, let's stick to that 170 Apple call uh, on April 22nd. If you look at it, it's 0.75 cents. If you click on it, uh, one contract is the equivalent of 100 shares. So you're given the right to buy or sell 100 shares of Apple. and the price you're going to be paying per share is 75 cents. And you have to do 100 of them, so that's one contract. So that equals 75 cents times 100 equals $75. So you'll actually be paying $75 for just one contract. Let's say we want two contracts, we get 150. Three, 225, damn near like what it would cost for the next week's expiration date. So if you keep going up, you can pretty much buy as many contracts if you'd like. I don't suggest ever going over more than 20% in any play that you're doing. That's my personal suggestion. Again, everyone has their own uh, ways of trading. I like to be a little more safe, so I don't really like risking a lot of my own portfolio into my trades, but that's for something else for another time. But anyways, yeah, this is essentially what your premium would be for this price. And again, if we go over to the next premium and go to that same price, that same call, but at a different date, we're seeing that we're actually paying $241 for just one contract compared to the 1 week before, which is 75. But you got to pick and choose what kind of risk you like. Do you want to risk more money but get more time? Or do you want to risk less money but risk, more time into your stock? So premium is very important. And again, your premium always goes more the more in the money you are in whatever contract you're doing. So again, if you're doing calls, your premium will go astronomically high the more in the money you go. And again, this is just a disclaimer. If you're doing pretty out the money calls, like something really unrealistic, like something like 195 by the 22nd of April, you're most likely not even going to be able to sell that contract just because no one's even thinking about buying it in the first place. So that is something to look out for. That's just a tip I have realized when I first started out trading, there's something called liquidity in things. So if there's no liquidity, there's no buyers, then you can't sell. All right, so you bought the contract. Now what? Let's assume that the price doesn't actually hit the target that you assumed it would. You bought a contract for April 22nd, 170 call, and you paid $75 per contract. The price doesn't actually hit let's say you bought this 2 days before its expiration date, and the stock actually went up $2, and you bought it at $75 a contract. There would actually be a raise in the premium because the price is getting closer to its target. So remember how I said the closer you are to in the money, the higher the price gets? That number continuously changes as it gets closer to the assumed price that you put on it. So if you said that it's going up to 170 and it goes up $2 from there, I don't really have the actual calculations to put out for you, but I could tell you that would be about a 50% gain, meaning the price would of the premium would actually go up 50% from where it would currently be at by the time it would hit that price. So that's really what we're aiming for to do, is to collect a higher premium for for the contracts that we're placing. Sometimes we actually do get in the money and we hit our contracts and we hit our goals and we sell at that point. But for the most part, for what I'm going to be covering as a day trader, we almost never actually hit our strike prices. We aim to collect premium. And that's really where all that profit gains, because if you, whether it's 25, 50, 75, or 100% gain, all that is determined on how close of a jump the stock goes from the price you placed it at and from where it was currently at. To give an example of pretty much everything I just went over right now, if I put something like this in front of you where it says Apple 170 call 422 at 70.75, if we go over to your brokerage, You're going to go over to the trading options section. You're going to go over to the date that I put on the expiration, which was 4/22nd, April 22nd. You're going to be looking for 170 calls. And when I put at, that means it's the price that I currently put it at. That doesn't necessarily mean by the time that you place that contract, uh, you're going to get filled at the same price that I did. You know, the market can always be very volatile, so it could change small or by a lot. So you should always look out for that, that your fill might not be the same as what something I might put out for. So always check that out. But you pretty much have selected the right contract that I put in for in the chat. Just as an example of everything that I just went over.